Today we're making scones with my handy assistant, Tracy.
Okay, so we're getting prepared here. Mum has made me get a nice big bowl. Is glass better bowl than a normal bowl?
Yes.
A glass bowl is preferable, but if you don't have a glass bowl, you can of course use a Tupperware one. We have flour and we have it in the container that I have known all my life to have self-raising flour in. You need some milk. You can also use long life milk. Is that correct, Mum?
Yes.
Need some salt. Here's this. Now the secret ingredient. Should we tell them the secret ingredient? I think we should. Yes?
Yes.
It's cream. Now the cream doesn't actually have to be fresh either, correct, Mum?
Yes.
It does have to be correct, or it can be anything.
It can be leftover cream.
It can be leftover cream. So imagine that. Any cream you've got is good. As long as it's not green, good to go. Also make sure you have a flat tray ready with baking powder. Don't put greaseproof paper on it like I just did. Baking paper, okay? And then, should we set the oven, get the oven on?
Yes.
What should the oven temperature be at?
A bit over 200, 220.
Okay, so it's quite a hot oven, about 220 degrees Celsius. You want it on and start running. All right, Mum, here we go. Let me just get the camera in the right spot. This could be funny because I'm going to get in trouble. All right. What are we doing first?
3 cups of flour.
Okay, flour. 3 cups. Just even, or can they be a bit over the top?
Oh, just
About that?
Yes.
Okay. 3 cups of flour, folks. It's precise measurements when you're working with Mum, by the way. But what you really want is the good old-fashioned flat knife that has this handle on it. If you're not lucky enough to have grown up with these knives, you have missed out, okay? But a big flat knife works well. What if they don't have one of these? What else could they use?
A spatula.
A spatula, okay? So if you don't have a broad knife, use a spatula. Next.
Flatten the flour.
Got to flatten the flour? I've never known to do that.
Yeah.
I've never flattened the flour. Maybe that's why my scones are not as good as yours.
Salt.
How much salt?
In the palm of your hand, a little puddle in your hand.
Okay, I'm just going to check if I've got enough salt with Mum and then I will show you. Okay, folks, I'm going to see if I can measure this, but it's about that much salt. So it's about a 10-cent piece. Let's put it into our teaspoon. It's about 1/3 of a teaspoon, so you can see there. Just in the middle?
Yep.
Or shake it over?
Shake it over.
Oh, you've got to shake it over, folks. Shake it over. Okay, folks, we need a 1/2 cup and we're about to do the cream. We are going to attempt this because the normal measurement is a puddle of cream. But because you folks at home have not grown up with Mum to know what in the heck a puddle of cream is, we're going to try 1/2 cup and see if that looks like enough, and then we will readjust the measurement depending on what it is. So here we go. Okay, folks, so we've discovered a puddle of cream is not 1/2 cup, it's actually a whole cup. So you want 1 cup of cream, and see how it pretty much just, oh, I can't show you very easily. Let me see if I can shift the camera. See how it sort of covers just a layer over the top of the flour? That is a puddle of cream. 1 cup of cream. There we go. So next we're doing milk. Milk, we actually, you have to sort of adjust as you go. So we're going to start with 1 cup of milk. So just as a second reminder, this is a 1/2 cup. So we're putting 1 cup of milk in. Just to start with, we'll see how we go. Okay, so very technical term for mixing this. We're going to cut it. So when you say cut it, what the heck do you mean by that? Like cut it, like slice it?
Yeah, but mix it, but use it as a cutting.
So the cutting mixture, you cut and then kind of fold it. So cut and fold, cut and fold. So you're sort of slicing through it and doing it. You're not doing a mix like this. You'll overwork the dough. You want to cut and fold. The one thing I know about making scones is don't over mix them because they turn out like rocks. Done that.
That's not bad, actually, is it?
I don't know if you just heard that, but Mum just said I'm not doing too bad. Yay! Guys, I want you to see this. Mum just said this is coming together quite nice. It's nice and sticky. Okay, so it sort of needs to be sticky. I've got some flour down here though that is coming through. So we're going to mix it in and we might need to add more milk. But if you can see that, see how it's nice and sticky? See, it's sort of clumpy. It looks a bit, I don't know what it looks like, but it's sort of sticky. That's what you're looking for. So remember, we're cut and folded. Okay, so Mum just said put in a cup of milk to start with and do this, and then we're going to put in a little more milk. So we're just going to put in 1/4 of a cup of milk. I've now got 1/4 of a cup. We normally do this by feel of just pouring in a dribble of milk, but we're trying to do measurements for you guys so you can see. So start with 1 cup, cut it in and see how sticky it is, and then if it's a little bit dry, so I've still got some flour. I don't know if you can see that. I've still got some flour over this side that's not actually in. So we're going to just put in 1/4 of a cup.
Oh, that looks pretty good.
That looks pretty good?
Oh,
Oh, it looks pretty good. Okay guys, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is good. See how it's sort of, it's mixed together, but just mixed together, but it's kind of sticky. Can you see how it's sticky and lumpy? That's what we need. Now, if they were going to do extra things like dates or sultanas or anything, is it now that we add them?
yes.
Okay, so if you wanted to add, what could we add? You could add dates, sultanas, cheese,
Ginger.
ginger, Mum's favourite, ginger, and you just mix that in. Don't over mix it again, just put that in and mix it. If you were going to do like, you know, a fruit mix, how much would you put in, Mum, do you think?
Oh, half a handful.
Half a handful of fruit mixture. So,
Yeah.
you know.
And may need a little extra milk.
Okay, and so if you put in half a handful of fruit as an example, you might need just a little bit more milk, you know, just a couple of dashes to just mix that in, just so that you keep this stickiness. It needs to be a bit sticky, not wet, just sticky. We are using something that some of you may have, some of you may have never seen this before, but it is a Tupperware sheet. So you actually can roll this out and put it on the bench. See, it even says Tupperware on it. Now, if you do not have one of these sheets, do not panic. You can do it on the bench. Just maybe a little bit of flour dusting on the bench.
Yeah,
and we're going to also do a little flour dusting on this as well. So just a little bit of self-raising flour. We're just going to dust the sheet. What next?
Keep the mixture on it.
Okay, here we go.
Dust your hands with the flour.
Dust your hands with flour. Hopefully you've been safe and washed your hands. We don't use any special flour either, by the way. This is like a packet of $1 flour from Woolies. Now we're going to knead it. This is the trick. You don't want to over knead it. So I'm just getting it all together.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Fold it in half.
You need some more flour.
I'm going to need some more flour on my hands. I've not got enough.
Or on the sheet.
And a little more on the sheet as well. It's a little bit sticky.
Is it smooth?
It is there, but this side isn't.
Oh,
Do this one.
yeah.
Okay, so we're turning this over, sticky side down. Oh, it's very sticky. There we go.
Now pat it out.
Now, can everyone see that that's actually flat? So I only kneaded it, what, like about 4 times then, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
We kneaded it once, kneaded it again. So this is what happens. People over knead it, and then you turn out with scones that are like rocks. So we're just patting it, so pat it out flatter. I think it's a bit sticky, Mum. Oh no, it's okay. Okay,
Pat it more. Now, get the,
like pat it to flatten.
yeah, get the cutter out. You know the one I use?
Yeah. Okay, so we've patted out the mixture. Now, how high should this be? Like, where do you want it to be? So it's sort of a lub. Now, I'm using Mum's scone cutter that she's had for a gazillion years. Again, another thing I don't know my life without. This cutter is actually 1 inch or 2.5 centimetres deep. So when we actually put it next to the mixture, let me show you. Cool. There we go. Can you see that the mixture is just below that? So it's about 2 centimetres or 3/4 of an inch, a little bit more than 3/4 of an inch high. That's how high you want the scone mix.
Put the cutter into the flour.
Put some flour onto the cutter and we're going to cut them out. Now you want to maximise your cutting.
Yeah.
As a side fun fact on the side, I got first place for Mum's recipe of scones in the Horsham and Dimbulla shows when I was a teenager. Okay, what do we do with this?
Push it all together.
So, all the scraps, just push it together.
Yeah. Put it together, roll it a bit.
Give it a little knead, just 1 or 2.
Need more flour.
Need more flour. You can see you need a lot of flour. We're now putting in the oven. How long in the oven for?
10 minutes.
So we're going to put them in the oven for 10 minutes. So if you were Mum, at this point in time, you would be making another batch of scones because she only ever makes scones in like 100 batches because you just whip up a batch of scones. But you could easily, you could see, now make up some more scones whilst you're waiting for these ones to cook. You could have the next batch ready to go. But we will come back momentarily when the 10 minutes is up. Okay, so whilst we're waiting, I probably should lift the camera up, but whilst we're waiting, we're going to whip the cream because there is nothing better than scones with jam and cream. Now, my personal favourite is like a raspberry or a strawberry cream. Today, we are using Uncle Ronnie's homemade apricot jam because Mum is her favourite is apricot jam, and this is her brother's homemade apricot jam. So we're going to use this one today, and we're just going to use the rest of the cream to make some whipped cream.
Oh, too much.
Way too much cream. We thought we'd just use the rest. You don't need to use a big thing of cream. You'd probably get away with the smaller one, wouldn't you? A 300 ml of cream.
Yeah, but you may as well have a big one.
But you may as well have a big one. Hey, you can never have too much cream. Now for the cream, the other secret ingredient is icing sugar. Once again, Tupperware container I have known all my life. We're going to put in a dessert spoon.
A good one.
A good dessert spoon. Does that look right?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to get to the scones, guys. Oh, buzzer just went off. Look at them, they're looking nice. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to take the scones out and we're just going to turn the tray around. Because sometimes the back of your oven's a little hotter than the front. So we're just going to turn that around.
No, not brown.
They're not brown yet. Oh, they're a little brown at the back on the top. Let me just show Mum. So you can see these back ones are a little brown, but the front ones are not. So we've turned it around. How long should we put them in for, Mum?
Tried it another 3 minutes.
About another 3 minutes, Mum just said. So let's set our timer for another 3. And then we're going to whip it. Mum prefers a mix master. I prefer hand beaters, just because I can't be bothered getting out the whole mix master.
I was behind you.
So I just have to change location to mix this, but I'll come back to you. Okay, we've whipped the cream. As you can see, it's thick. You know, it's nice and globby. You don't want to over whip it because it goes yucky. You'll just turn it into butter. And if, like we were as kids, there would be a fight on for who got the beaters. Ooh, a little bit of cream there on the table I get to eat. And as I grew up with a brother and a sister and there's only 2 beaters, you had to get in fast.
I think they need another couple of minutes.
Another couple of minutes. Okay. It's a bit hot. I want you to see them. They need just another couple of minutes. This is where it's really hard because your oven temperature will change. But can you see that these are still quite white on the inside here? They're browning on the top, but we need to make sure they're cooked all the way through. So we're going to go another 2 minutes. but we're going to keep an eye on them as well. It's even a good idea if you're taking them places, like if you're making them for a cake stall, don't put cream and jam on them. Just take them as whole and people can buy them. If you're taking them to someone's house, you might actually take your jam and cream separate and then assemble them when you're there, because that's the best bit. Or, of course, put a bowl out in the middle of the table and let people help themselves. They can have as much jam or cream as they like. Would that be right? Okay, I'm doing good. I'm getting thumbs up. So it's kind of about 15 minutes, we think, in a 220 oven. So 10 minutes, turn them around, just do 3 minutes, just double check them and then leave them another 2. And just watch that last 2 minutes just to make sure you don't, overcook them, overburn them. And of course, if you're ever in doubt, pull it out, open one up and you'll know if it's cooked or not. And then you've only wasted one and you can stick it back in, just put it back together, and then you have to eat that one before you take them anywhere. It's really unfortunate. Mum is laughing at my YouTube cooking ability here. I think I'm set for MasterChef as long as we're only making scones. So what we've done here is, normally we just chuck them out and put them on the stove, but I want you to be able to see them on the video, so I've just put down some tea towels here to put the hot thing on. You need a clean, dry tea towel for when things are finished, so just have a clean, dry tea towel. Mum wanted me to go get nice tea towels, but I went, these are the tea towels we use all the time, so you get our nice checkered green tea towels. Mum has about 50 of these, by the way. Just got them out of the oven, so yeah, that was 15 minutes. Let me show you so you can see what they look like. Don't they look good? Yummo. Now, scones are not supposed to look all pretty. If they look all pretty, they've been over-kneaded and they won't taste as good. Scones should look rustic. Rustic is the term we like to use for them. But this means they taste good. If you get the scones that look all perfect shaped, they've been over-kneaded, and so therefore they'll taste a bit more, I suppose, cakey, rather than really good scone mixture. So, what we're going to do, leave them on the tray, Mum?
Yes.
Leave them on the tray, and we just pop a tea towel over them, and let them sit. How long do we let them sit for?
Till they cool down.
Until they cool down. So we'll be back shortly. So we need to leave these cool. They'll take about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour. So we're just going to go do some jobs and come back to them. I'm going to put the cream in the fridge because I keep dipping my finger in and eating it because it tastes really good. All right, we'll come back. Okay, so our scones are now nice and cool. So we're just going to take them, pop them on a plate. They're stuck together, just pull them apart. So that batch there just made 14 scones. So, getting somewhere between 13 to 15 scones per batch is pretty normal. And a good amount. Remember too, let's pull this up a bit. When people all of a sudden stop by or they say, hey, I'm 10 minutes away, and you go, oh my goodness, what am I going to feed these people? Scones. Quickest, easiest thing to do. Just whip out a batch of scones. I can remember growing up as a kid, people would turn up on our doorstep and Dad would turn to Mum and say, oh, you better whip up a batch of scones. So just keep this one in the back of your head because this is always good. Heather's famous scones, and you'll find that you'll be able to whip them up way quicker than I've just done there whilst I'm explaining. But look at that, a whole batch of scones. That'd feed a number of people, or 2 if you eat scones like us. Let's do the little finishing touch. Here's a scone, one that we prepared just now, not earlier. Now, I don't actually like to cut them with a knife. I like to just break them in half because they're nice. So look at that mixture inside. Let me check, is that looking good?
Good.
Did I do all right?
Fantastic.
I did fantastic. Yay. I haven't made scones in years, guys. So here we are. So we're going to get some of Uncle Ronnie's apricot jam, which has real apricot pieces in it, by the way. So I learnt that this weekend, that good jam actually has pieces of the fruit in it. So put on a good slathering of a jam. Now I will do the correct thing and I'll get a teaspoon out for the cream. I would normally just get the knife and chuck it on. Put on a big dollop of cream. And there we go. Perfect for afternoon tea, perfect for lunch. When people come by at last minute notice, look how good they look. Perfect. How'd we do, Mum? We do good?
Very well.
Yay! There you go. Heather's famous scones.